In this recording, in our series of the T-slot operation, we will talk about our technology. Now that I've created the levels and I've also chosen the tool that I wanted, and of course the geometry, in the technology, we have, as far as the modified goes, this is exactly like we have in the profile operation, but I'd like to go into it for a moment. I'm going to go into modified geometry, and if we take the top view of the part, you can see where our chain starts and ends for the first one, and the same thing with our second chain. Now you'll note that it ends exactly at the end. We have an option that will allow us to actually extend the beginning and end. Let's take a look what happens when I do this on the first chain, and I'll extend it by 1 millimeter. You'll see that it automatically extended itself past the part by 1 millimeter. If I do this for the end, again, 1 millimeter, you see it extends itself for that as well. Now we also have another option over here that says apply to all chains. If I click this, the top ones will change as well. I'm just going to leave it exactly the way it is right now, and I'm going to accept this. Next, let's go now down into our rough cut. If we go into our rough cut, we don't have a down step, but we do have is a cutting depth overlap. The cutting depth overlap cannot be equal or more than the cutting length of the tool, which is 3 millimeters. If I, for example, would put in here 3 millimeters and then click on save, it would tell me that the data is out of range. Okay, so I'm going to have my cutting depth overlap at, say, at 0.5 millimeters. In other words, it's going to have an overlap for a 0.5 millimeter. You'll also note we have here a cut from option where it allows you to cut from the top to the bottom, from the bottom to the top, from the middle to the bottom, and then it completes the upper level, or middle to top, and then it completes the lower. Let's actually leave it at that. If we go to our offset, you'll see we have a wall offset, a ceiling offset, and a floor offset. I'm going to have my wall offset at 0.3. I'm going to have my ceiling offset at 0.15. And I'm also going to have my floor offset at 0.15. And in my link page, I'm going to change from arc, and I'm going to have it at tangent to come in a tangentially along the side from the part. And I also want to have the same for my lead out, to leave in a tangent manner. Let's do save and calculate, and let's take a look at the simulation. If we take a look at the simulation, and I'll do this from the side view so we can see this area over here, you'll see that the tool will first go down in the middle. You can see that, and it will go across, finish, go back up. Now, when they go back down, they have an overlap as defined. Continue on down, and finishes that area over there. And now it's going to the top to complete that area as well. And if we take a closer look, you can see the leftover material on top and bottom, and the offset from the side as well. Now, let me go back into the operation, and let me make a change in the technology as far as the cutting depth overlap. I had it at 0. There was no overlap, so just went to the wherever it was. I'm going to have it right now at, give it a 0.5 millimeter overlap. Let's do now save and calculate, simulate. And this time, you'll see it'll go down in the middle, go back, and it had a 0.5 millimeter overlap from the old tool. Let me go out now and see what happens when I change that again, and this time I'm going to have an overlap of 2.5 millimeters. This way you can see now that when I do the simulation, I have my first step, and this time when it goes, it had a very small step because 2.5 millimeters is overlapping on the previous step. And you can see that it goes further and further down. And then it will work its way up again as well. So now we also saw the difference between a large overlap and a small overlap. In our next recording, we'll be going into our finish cuts.